Hello, it is Wednesday, July 8th, 2026. I am 27 years old, and it's me, Jordan. I have coffee that I still haven't finished, even though it's like almost 2 p.m. I went and played tennis today. It's so hot. It's July. It's hot and it's humid. And yeah, I went and played tennis for a little bit. The air just feels like liquid, basically. So I drank a little bit of my coffee before I left, but then I tried to drink some on the way to tennis and on the way back. And then I still have some left over. I'm feeling a little low energy today. Not gonna lie. I feel like it's hormone related. I feel like it's my luteal phase. The luteal phase blues, you know? I really liked this. I read this morning. Maybe I'll share about this today. But I wrote this in my journal. I may not read it verbatim, but I was thinking this morning about God and communicating about God and how hard it can be if you don't speak the same language as someone. You can speak the same language and not speak the same language. You know what I mean? Like, you can both speak English, but if you're not speaking the same language, you or the other person might not understand. And I was just thinking about this recently, how we all have our language and our verbiage. And even if you're in the room with the same sort of people who believe the same sort of things that you do, there can still be some mistranslations or misunderstandings, because talking about God it's hard to talk about sometimes. But I was thinking this morning about how I would love to be able to talk about God with anyone. And sometimes I can use verbiage that to the right people makes sense, but to the wrong people is like kind of confusing. And, for example, when I'm with my family and we're talking about God, it's pretty easy. We all speak the same language and we all know what we mean by when we say certain things, But I have been in some environments with people who maybe don't believe the same things that I do. And I'd love to be able to talk about certain things, but I don't know, we maybe don't speak the same language. So it feels like there's a barrier. There's a barrier there, and we can't really talk about what I want to talk about. But I have been thinking about this a lot in recent months in general, how you can speak the same language but not speak the same language. And I just want to be a good enough communicator. So if people ask me questions, or if we get to talking about something, I want to be able to make it make sense. And I was thinking about that this morning, and then I opened up my Bible to where I left off. This happens so much. This happens so much to me, where maybe I just pick up the Bible. I pick up my Bible and I open it to what I've been reading, or where I open it with my little bookmark of where I left off. And for some reason, whatever I read next is exactly what I needed to hear, or in alignment with what I've been thinking about. So I had this thought this morning and recently. I don't know why the past couple of days I was thinking about that, about, I want to speak and communicate clearly so that I can speak to any sort of person. And there's layers to that. There's layers to that because there's been some insecurities and perfectionistic tendencies that I've had to work through where I've held my tongue in the past because I was so scared. I was so scared of not saying something in the right way. So I just wouldn't say anything at all. So there's some of that that I've had to work through. But I opened up the Bible this morning to this and it just felt like, it felt kind of like an answer to this question or thought or desire that I've had of just wanting to communicate clearly to people if they have questions, if they want to talk about stuff, like anyone. I want to be able to speak to anyone and make it make sense, you know? And I opened up to First Corinthians, which is where I left off with, and let's see. Actually, why don't let's open my Bible here because I have it next to me. Because I want to be able to read verbatim. I was opening up First Corinthians and I was going to stop, like I just was starting First Corinthians and I was going to stop after the first chapter and just move on with my morning. But then I was like, I kind of want to keep reading just a little bit. And I read into chapter 2. Excuse me. I read into chapter 2, just the first few verses, and I was like, this is kind of an answer to a prayer I didn't even know I prayed. You know what I mean? Like sometimes that just happens. It's so interesting. So, if you don't know anything about the Bible, let me just give you a quick breakdown. This 1 Corinthians is the first epistle of Paul, the apostle, to the Corinthians. So, this is basically a letter written by Paul to the Corinthian people at the Corinthian church or whatever. I don't know everything about this, but yeah, so this is Paul writing to these people, and he says, I'm just going to read it, the beginning of chapter 2. And I, brethren, when I came to you, did not come with excellence of speech or of wisdom, declaring to you the testimony of God. For I determined not to know anything among you except Jesus Christ and him crucified. I was with you in weakness, in fear, and in much trembling. And my speech and my preaching were not with persuasive words of human wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power, that your faith should not be in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God. When I read that this morning, it's funny because, like I said, I was going to finish with just reading the first chapter and just like move on with my morning. But the beautiful, interesting thing about the Bible and some of these letters that you read and in the New Testament, they're separated by verses and chapters, but really it's like a letter. And ideally, you just like read it all the way through as if it's a letter. You don't necessarily break it up into different parts. So this morning I was thinking about that. I was like, I don't want to just stop at the end of chapter 1. I want to keep reading because it's like a letter and there's a flow to it and it's building, like one thing he says is building onto the next. So I read that in chapter 2 at the very start and I just stopped there because it kind of just stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, man, let me read it again. My speech and my preaching were not with persuasive words of human wisdom. We're not with persuasive words of human wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit, capital S Spirit, Holy Spirit, and of power, that your faith should not be in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God. I feel like a lot of things, like, oh man, when it comes to God, there are so many mysteries. There are so many mysteries, and sometimes it's hard to talk about it. Because, like, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of what I've been coming to understand lately, some revelations I've been having, is that you don't do stuff on your own strength. Like, you don't do it, you don't have to strive for it, basically. You don't have to strive for it. You don't even, like, yes, you can prepare yourself. And if I want to be able to speak to people about God, really, I just need to keep pursuing God and reading the word. And it'll be like by the Spirit and a demonstration of his power that I'm able to talk to people about stuff, about spiritual things. And it's not by my own strength and my own might and my own human wisdom. That's kind of how I was feeling about it this morning when I was thinking about this, when I was thinking about, like, how do you communicate with all sorts of people and how do you become better at that? I'm just thinking of it more from this human lens, from like, I just need to learn a certain skill of communication. And yeah, you can learn some things. You can pick up some things from other people. You can read books. You can take courses. You can like sharpen your skills as a speaker or communicator or writer or whatever. So there is sometimes human effort that needs to be involved. Actually, I think always it's like human effort combined with the power of the Spirit working in you. It's both and. But I just recently have felt like so many things that I have tried to do in my own strength or think that I can do in my own strength or my own will and my own levels of wisdom. I just feel like I'll read in the word and be like, oh, basically I don't have to strive. Like, God gives us grace and strength and power, and he equips us. He equips us. Like, and there's more than one case of this in the Bible. There's was it Moses? God asked Moses to go and speak to, was it the Pharaoh? He said, go and speak. And then Moses was like, I'm not a good speaker though. And then God was like, but I've asked you and I've equipped you and I've put my words in your mouth. Where is that? Where is that actually? Because I have it underlined somewhere and I'm like, is that in where is that? Oh man. Now I want to find it. Okay, I found it. Moses literally said, wait, let me go back. God is just like proving his power to Moses. And then, and he's basically trying to send him out. He's sending him out to the Pharaoh. Is it the Pharaoh? Hello. Yeah. Okay. He's sending him out to the Pharaoh to free his people, to free God's people. And Moses says, "Oh, my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither before nor since you have spoken to your servant, but I am slow of speech and slow of tongue." And God says, "Who has made man's mouth? Or who makes the mute, the deaf, the seeing, or the blind? Have not I the Lord? Now therefore go, and I will be with your mouth and teach you what you shall say." And Moses again is just fighting back, like, please send by the hand of whomever else you may send. And then God got angry. He said, it continues. I'm not going to continue reading it all. But he does say again, I will be with your mouth and with his mouth, his brother's mouth, and I will teach you what you shall do. And there's like multiple cases of this in the word of people feeling like they can't communicate well or they can't speak well, or like Paul was saying in 1 Corinthians, he said, "For I determined not to know anything among you. I was in weakness. My speech and my preaching were not with persuasive words of human wisdom, but like it's God. So I don't know. My takeaway is, like I said before, it's always going to be a mix of human effort and God's grace and power, and the Spirit, both working together. But like, the funny thing is though, God equips you. God, God equips you to do the things you need to do, and then you do it, and it's not even by your own strength necessarily, because he equips you. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it very well. But, that's the whole point of this thing. I don't have to do anything by my own strength. It's like, does that make sense? Does that make sense? It's you and God working together, but God equips you, and he made you, and he equips you to do what you need to do. So it's kind of funny because it's like, yeah, it's me and God working together, but like he's the one who equips me to do the things that I need to do. So really, it's him working through me and me willingly participating. Because that's the thing. Like, we have free will, That's the whole thing. So yeah, that's what I was thinking about this morning. Basically, you don't have to do anything on your own strength. It's you and God together. That's my big takeaway. It's you and God. It's me and God. It's me participating out of my own free will and choice, and him giving me the grace and the power and strength, and us working together. It's pretty remarkable. Very interesting stuff. All right, I think I'm going to go. That's my big takeaway. That's my big takeaway for the day, and a little revelation for you. All right, I'll catch you later. Bye.